Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Plus Side of Nashville. I'm Tuwanda Coleman. Well, who says creativity can't be learned? Some psychologists say we're all naturally creative, although some people have more natural talent than others. But with training and practice, we can all get those creative juices flowing. On today's show, we're highlighting the works of Poverty and the Arts, a social enterprise nonprofit that works with one of our most vulnerable populations. Hear how they're helping people impacted by homelessness tap into their creativity. The Plus Side of Nashville starts now.
From the News Channel 5 network, this is the Plus Side of Nashville.
Thank you for joining us. For the past 7 years, Poverty in the Arts has helped bring out the creative talents of people impacted by homelessness and allow participants to earn an income. Nicole Minyard, founder and CEO of Poverty of the Arts, is my guest today. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, thank you. It's so great to be here.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. This is an idea you came up with while you were a student in college at Belmont. Where did you get the inspiration from for this wonderful social enterprise?
Yeah, so growing up, I'm from a really small town in Kentucky, and so the narratives told to me about homelessness were pretty stereotypical. Lazy, drug addicts, could get work but didn't want to. And my senior year of high school, I got connected with a church member who had started going to homeless camps and tents. And he might bring socks or coffee, but ultimately he just spent the day with them. And so it really flipped the power dynamics, because here I was, a guest in their space and in their kind of environment. And so it was through those opportunities that I learned how creative and resourceful so many people on the streets were. And they would build these houses and communities off the grid and in the woods. But they lacked or had barriers to a lot of traditional employment and less housing. That might be mental illness, physical disabilities, all kinds of things. And so I moved to Nashville in 2010 to go to Belmont University, and I got a job under the Center of Service Learning. And so my job was to plan community service projects for Belmont students. And so I was really excited to figure out a way to recreate that space that I experienced in Kentucky, but I didn't know where any homeless camps or tents were. And so I started to play with this idea of art could be this space in which we become equals. And instead of simply serving a homeless person a meal, you're playing music or writing a poem or creating visual art. And so I started by going to Church Street Park across from the downtown library and getting to know people. And a reason a lot of people experiencing homelessness congregate at Church Street Park is because it's one of the few places where you can legally exist without it being considered trespassing. And so it's a really important green space here in Nashville. And so I started to just build relationships, and I learned of an organization called Room in the Inn here that many people know of, and many people on the streets really loved and said how much they valued that organization. So I reached out to them and found out they had an art studio and some music instruments, and pitched this idea of Belmont students coming and creating art with their participants. And we hosted our very first event in November 2011. And we got such great feedback from both the volunteers at Belmont, but also from the homeless participants, because while they had an art studio, they hadn't experienced dozens of college students wanting to know what their dreams and goals were or how their family was. And it really just allowed them to connect on that deeper level. And so my senior year at Belmont, I got an internship under the art therapist at Room in the Inn. And it was there that I really saw the depth of talent of people here on the streets in our community in Nashville. And I would get questions like, how do I get my art in a coffee shop? Or people see me drawing on the street every day. How can I sell it to them without a cop coming up and stopping me? Because you have to have a street vendor's license. And so we filed for 501c3 status in 2013, 2014. And it was with that goal of providing these people on the streets who had such incredible talent an opportunity to create and sell their income, or to sell their artwork to earn that meaningful and legal income that so many people, because of barriers to traditional employment, and that even when it is employment, it's lower wage employment. And so just having an opportunity to leverage their own skills and learn some of those entrepreneurial skills is what we filed for nonprofit status with. And then it's also an opportunity for the community to really get to engage and meet people outside of their typical social circle, who are very different than them, and really connect in a deeper and more meaningful way than maybe they have in the past.
Well, I just think this is an incredible idea because so often I think folks who are dealing with homelessness just want to be seen. They want to be looked at as just a human, just like everybody else. And as you said, many of them do have talents. Well, what kinds of projects are these folks doing? What kind of artwork?
Yeah, so we have such an eclectic and talented group of artists. We have people that do traditional, painting, and they love painting sunsets and scenery and things like that. We have a lot of mixed media artists. A lot of artists come and love to experiment and try to find what is their artistic voice. Some of our artists may have taken some art classes in high school. Some of them even have degrees in, from art schools. But based on a variety of life circumstances, they found themselves experiencing homelessness and are now trying to get back into finding, what is next for them. And so a lot of that is reclaiming their voice and their identity and who they want to be as an artist. And so when they join our program, we kind of help them work out what kind of their goals are and what they want to create. We also have people who sew. So we have a lot of fiber arts. We have, things from aprons to blankets. We have had leather workers in the past. We have jewelry makers. So we have all kinds of different things and ways for our artists to kind of explore and sell their work to the community.
How do they find out about you? Do you go out and actually find them, or do they find you?
Yeah, so it's multifaceted, but our biggest way is by building relationships with social service organizations and social workers. That way, when people that come into their programs have a creative outlet, they can refer them to us. And likewise, our clients experience so many different types of needs and barriers that we can't always address because we're really trying to focus on this art and entrepreneurial piece. And so if we have those relationships built, when our artists experience food insecurity or things like that, we've built those relationships and connect them with them. Another really important way is word of mouth. So if you see someone on the streets, you can connect them and they're drawing, and you can, tell them about our organization, get them connected with us. And so that's always exciting when community members start to reach out and are like, how can I get this person that I see drawing every day connected to you? And it becomes this community effort to really help people find the right places for them.
So, Nicole, in the 7 years that you've been in existence, how many people would you estimate have come through your program?
Yeah, so we've probably served over 100 people here in Nashville. With it being a transient population, we definitely see people come and go. But we have several artists who have been with us since 2014, including two of our artists, Kateri and Sam. And Kateri has been an incredible story. When I met her, she was 64 with arthritis in both of her knees, getting out of a tent every single morning, packing it up, leaving, and trying to find somewhere to sleep that night. And in those 7 years, I've watched her get housing. I've watched her save and now purchase a vehicle. Last year in 2020, she got to use part of the stimulus check and savings from artwork sales to finally help her get more autonomy, just because our bus system creates a lot of barriers as well for a lot of people. And so within the last 7 years, we've also paid out $54,000 to artists here on the streets from selling their artwork, reproduction, teaching artists, some intellectual property rights, all kinds of different ways that we're exploring ways for them to earn income through their creative talent.
So as a social enterprise, basically they get the majority of the money that they make from their art, but then some of it goes back into the organization. Is that how that works?
Correct. The artist gets 60% of the sales, and then 40% is reinvested back to the organization to help keep providing for the studio space, the art supplies, the storage, all of those things that our artists get at no cost. So we're really helping provide them all of those resources as well as the training. And so a really unique thing about our social enterprise is our artists set the prices for all of their art pieces. And so with that, donations are really important to help them have that learning curve to grow, maybe price too high, learn through some exhibitions, and that kind of how to price effectively in this market. Again, all of these are so many business skills that they're learning. And so donations become really important to provide that security net for our artists. A lot of times being an artist or an entrepreneur, to take risks if you don't have a security net, it's really hard. And so that's kind of what we're able to provide for our artists. And so as we grow that net, we actually would love to provide a larger percentage to our artists so that they can continue to earn even more income, because that really is our goal, is to help them gain that economic mobility.
Well, I'm sure for them, this is for some of them maybe the first way they've been able to actually earn an income. That must do an incredible job on their self-esteem.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say not only just being able to earn income, but when someone purchases a piece of their art, they're saying that what they created is valuable and worth buying. And so it's even so much more meaningful than a traditional job where you just earn an hourly wage, because you really are getting to connect with the community and getting to be seen on a deeper level through these sales and earning income.
Well, I would love to learn more about where we can see this artwork and how other folks who may own a business may be able to help and get involved with the Poverty in the Arts. This is a wonderful organization. We want to learn more about it, but we got to take a break. And we'll be back with more right after this.